$10, sometimes less. For the price of a sandwich and a coffee, you can buy a ticket to fly hundreds of miles across a continent. It seems impossible. A business model that defies logic. An offer so cheap it feels like a trick. And yet the airline behind these fares, Ryanair, isn't just surviving, it's thriving. It's one of the largest and most profitable airlines on the planet. They fly more international passengers than anyone. They have turned a profit for decades, making billions of dollars while legacy carriers struggled. This is the Ryanair paradox. How do you build a multi-billion-dollar empire on tickets that cost next to nothing? The answer is a masterclass in ruthless efficiency, consumer psychology, and a business model that has torn up the airline rulebook. To understand how Ryanair makes its billions, you have to understand that the cheap ticket isn't their product. It's the bait. The story begins in the late 1980s. Ryanair was a tiny, failing Irish airline with just one route, losing money hand over fist. Then, its fiery and ambitious CEO, Michael O'Leary, took a trip to the United States. He went to study the world's original low-cost carrier, Southwest Airlines. He came back a changed man, with a new vision. He was going to copy the Southwest model, but make it more extreme, more aggressive, and more unapologetically cheap. The first step was to get people's attention. O'Leary knew that nothing grabs headlines like an absurdly low price. So, Ryanair began advertising fares so low they were unbelievable. This is the first and most visible pillar of their strategy. The ticket is just an advertisement. They often lose money on their rock-bottom fares. They are willing to take a small loss on the seat itself because they know that once you're hooked, the real money-making begins. This is where you encounter the second pillar and the true heart of the Ryanair machine, ancillary revenue. That's the industry term for selling you everything except the flight itself. Think of a traditional airline ticket as a bundled package. Your fare includes your seat, a cabin bag, maybe a checked bag, a drink, and a snack. Ryanair unbundles everything. The $10 ticket buys you one thing and one thing only: the right for one person to sit in one random seat. That's it. Want to choose where you sit so you're not in a middle seat at the back? That's a fee. Want to bring a normal-sized cabin bag to put in the overhead locker? That's a fee. Checking a bag into the hold? A much larger fee, and it gets more expensive the closer you get to the flight. Want to be among the first to board? You can buy priority boarding for a fee. The list goes on. Once you're on board, nothing is free. Water, coffee, tea, a bag of chips. It all comes from a pay-as-you-go trolley. They sell lottery scratch cards. They sell branded merchandise. On their website, they push travel insurance, car rentals, and hotel bookings, taking a commission on every single sale. These small charges, which many passengers reluctantly pay, add up to a colossal mountain of cash. In some years, these extras have made up more than 30% of Ryanair's total revenue. Billions of dollars made from things other airlines use to give away for free. If you find this business strategy fascinating, hit that like button. But making money from extras is only half the equation. The other half is an obsession with cutting costs that borders on a religion. This is the third and perhaps most important pillar: fanatical operational efficiency. It starts with the planes themselves. Look at Ryanair's fleet and you will only see one type of aircraft: the Boeing 737. This is not a coincidence. Operating a single-type fleet is a massive cost-saving measure. It means your mechanics are all specialists on one machine. Your pilots all have the same qualifications. Your spare parts inventory is drastically smaller and simpler. Your cabin crews are trained for an identical layout on every single plane. Furthermore, Ryanair buys their planes in gigantic bulk orders, sometimes hundreds at a time, often when the aviation market is weak. This gives them immense bargaining power, allowing them to demand huge discounts from Boeing. They get brand new, fuel-efficient planes for a fraction of the list price. Next is how they use those planes. An airplane is an incredibly expensive asset. If it's sitting on the ground, it's not making money, it's costing money. Ryanair's solution is the legendary 25-minute turnaround. From the moment the plane arrives at the gate, a stopwatch starts. Their goal is to deplane all passengers, clean the cabin, refuel, board the new set of passengers, and push back for takeoff in just 25 minutes. Legacy carriers can take over an hour. How does Ryanair do it? Every second is optimized. They encourage passengers to use digital boarding passes to speed up gate checks. The cabins are Spartan. The seats don't recline, which means fewer broken parts to fix. There are no seat back pockets, which saves cleaners precious minutes since they don't have to empty them of trash. The crew even does a quick cabin tidy up themselves. This brutal efficiency means Ryanair can often fit in 1 or 2 extra flights per plane, per day, compared to their competitors. More flights per day means more tickets and more ancillary fees. The cost cutting extends to where they fly. Ryanair famously avoids major expensive hub airports like London Heathrow or Paris Charles de Gaulle. Instead, they fly into smaller secondary airports, often a long bus ride away from the city they claim to serve. These smaller airports have much lower landing fees and less air traffic, which means fewer costly delays. In fact, these airports are often so desperate for the passenger traffic that Ryanair brings, they pay the airline to fly there, offering subsidies, marketing support, and further discounts. Ryanair has turned the tables, making airports pay them for their business. What's the craziest airline fee you've ever had to pay? Let us know your story in the comments. The final pillar of the Ryanair empire is not a strategy, but a person, Michael O'Leary. For over 30 years, the outspoken CEO has been the face and voice of the airline. He is deliberately provocative, confrontational, and controversial. He has famously suggested charging passengers to use the toilet, a fat tax for larger customers, and standing room only seats. Most of these were never serious proposals. They were publicity stunts. O'Leary understood that every outrageous headline he generated was free advertising that kept Ryanair in the public consciousness. His brash, no-apologies attitude became the airline's brand identity. The message was clear: you get what you pay for. We offer the lowest fares and we won't apologize for the lack of frills. If you want luxury, fly with someone else and pay 3 times the price. So, how does Ryanair make billions from $10 tickets? They don't. They use the $10 ticket to lure you in. Then, they sell you a dozen extras that can triple the price of your journey. They fly brand new planes they bought at a discount. They work those planes harder and faster than anyone else. They cut every imaginable cost from their operations. And they are completely, unapologetically honest about their mission: to be the cheapest option, no matter what. This model has been criticized. It's been called a race to the bottom, but it has also undeniably democratized air travel in Europe. It has put flying within reach of millions who could never afford it before, connecting cities and people in a way that was once unthinkable. The Ryanair story is a powerful lesson in modern business. It shows that in a crowded market, sometimes the most successful strategy is not to add more, but to strip everything away and then sell it back, piece by piece. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more deep dives into the businesses that shape our world.